content is not a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Always seek the advice of a physician for any questions you may have regarding a medical condition. Hello and Namaste, it's me Archu Bandari.
And it's me, Mamta Vatrai.
First of all, I would like to welcome you all to yet another episode of our podcast brought to you by Creative Calojam Nepal. In this program, we will be discussing various diseases that we have encountered during our clinical postings. Without further delay, let's move on to today's case scenario.
24-year male came to the emergency department of our hospital with a chief complaint of pain in abdomen for past 24 hours along with the 2 episodes of vomiting and fever. The pain was acute in onset, which started around the periumbilical region and then shifted to the right iliac fossa after 4 hours. Pain was dull and crampy in character, which was aggravated with walking and moving, and there was some relief on rest. Pain was followed by 2 episodes of vomiting, which was non-projectile in nature, scanty in amount, containing food particles taken in the last meal, non-foul smelling and non-blood stained. There was also a moderate degree of intermittent fever for the last 24 hours, which was not documented and not associated with chills, rigor, or sweating. The patient also complained of constipation and anorexia for the last 2 days. There was no history of urinary symptoms and similar illness in past, and other major diseases in the family as well. The patient doesn't smoke and denied alcohol consumption and was non-vegetarian and consumes less green vegetables. So, on the basis of history, what might be the diagnosis?
Pain in abdomen along with vomiting and fever leads to many possible diagnoses. So, before coming to diagnosis, let's discuss the examination finding of this patient. On examination, there was tenderness and rebound tenderness at McBurney's point, and rise in temperature was noted. Ropsing sign and Swas test was found to be positive. So, Alvarado scoring was 7, excluding laboratory findings.
In your opinion, what may be the various conditions suggestive of the history and examination?
So far on my knowledge, the probable diagnosis includes acute pancreatitis, acute cholecystitis, acute regional ileitis, or maybe torsion of testis and perforated peptic ulcer. So, on going to depth of various differential diagnosis, the pain was not radiating to back and severity does not increases with rest, which rules out acute pancreatitis. Similarly, no history of flatulence, dyspepsia and belching, and no radiation of pain towards the inferior angle of scapula reduces the probable diagnosis towards acute cholecystitis. It cannot be acute regional ileitis as there is no history of intestinal colic and diarrhea in our case. Likewise, pain is not in the scrotal region, which also rules out testicular torsion. So, typical features like sudden pain in the periumbilical region, shifting to right iliac fossa, tenderness and rebound tenderness, elevated temperature, vomiting favors the diagnosis towards acute appendicitis. So, what do you think? Is our case sure of acute appendicitis?
I totally agree with you, but before coming to the final diagnosis, let's look at the investigation report and confirm our findings so far. On doing routine blood examinations, other parameters were normal, but there was an increase in leukocyte count. Similarly, there was an increase in the number of immature neutrophils as well. On performing ultrasonography of abdomen, an peristaltic non-compressible appendix of size 8 mm in anterior posterior diameter and interruption of the submucosal continuity was found. Overall investigations and typical features confirm the diagnosis of acute appendicitis, eliminating other probable diagnoses. Now, let's discuss about how case of acute appendicitis is managed.
Appendectomy via open laparotomy or laparoscopy remains only curative treatment of appendicitis. However, in an uncomplicated case, conservative management can be done. This includes bowel rest and intravenous antibiotics, often metronidazole and third generation cephalosporin. Fluid and electrolyte balance is maintained for relief of pain. Analgesics like diclofenac and tramadol can be given. If an appendix abscess is found during operation, the abscess should be drained and intravenous antibiotics administered.
In theory lectures, we were taught about the formation of appendicular lump or mass due to the localization of infection 3 to 5 days after an attack of acute appendicitis. How could we manage such a condition? Would you like to share some information on this?
You have addressed one of the most common complications of acute appendicitis. If lump is formed, surgery becomes most difficult and dangerous. In this case, careful monitoring of patient's condition and extent of mass should be made and abdomen regularly re-examined. Intake of food should be stopped and fluid and electrolytes must be supplemented. Temperature and pulse rate should be recorded every 4 hours. Clinical improvement is usually evident within 24 to 48 hours and interval appendectomy is performed after 6 weeks. And in case if mass is not resolved, we will approach appendectomy. What may be the complications of acute appendicitis?
Apart from formation of appendicular lump and appendicular abscess, appendicitis can cause some serious complications such as if an appendix is ruptured, it may cause infection throughout the abdomen called as peritonitis, inflammatory and pelvic abscesses, post-operative wound infection, fecal fistula, and small bowel obstruction.
In this episode, we discussed the case of acute appendicitis. Thank you for listening patiently. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. We will be back with another episode. Until then, have a good time.